Yeah, if you want to see the hand after it's being played, assuming you're using the web version, click the My Results thing on the right side. It's like a tab on the very right of your screen, and you can see all the hands we've played. Okay, so in contrast to the very first board we played, for those of you who are still here, this is what I would call a good balanced 12-point hand. And what this hand has going for it is my 5-card suit is wonderful this time as opposed to pretty awful the last time. And most of my high cards are in aces and kings as opposed to having a lot of queens and jacks. So here's the 12-point hand I'm very happy to open, in contrast to the very first board we played where I wasn't particularly thrilled about a 12-point opening with a 5-card suit. So, as much as I like my hand for opening the bidding, I don't have anywhere near the kind of hand I would need to take a second call. To bid anything or to double here would suggest either, good distribution or substantial extras in high cards, and unfortunately I have neither. So, looks like we're going to be defending. Okay, now I guess any suit could be right, but I'm going to certainly lead a high diamond. One of the advantages of doing that is hopefully I'll still be on lead at the end of trick 1, and hopefully I'll have a better idea of what I should do next. I don't really know what people are leading in terms of ace from ace king or king from ace king. I hope that the ace is still pretty close to standard. It was when I was, when I was learning, and I think it probably still is. So hope my partner will forgive me if he or she is expecting a king lead from this holding. Okay, so that is a somewhat atypical dummy for a takeout double there. My choice would have been a 2-club overcall with that distribution. And I'm also guessing that I am not going to have any idea what to play next. There are serious partnerships will have agreements here about when you lead, an ace or king and there's a singleton in the dummy, what the signal means. Is it a count signal? Is it an attitude signal? Is it a suit preference signal? We obviously, I'm not in a serious partnership here with Real Rowdy, so we've never discussed this. In a normal high-level game, I would have a much better idea to what the hands looked like and what my partner wanted me to do, because the 2 of diamonds would go some way towards telling me that. But here, it's really impossible for me to know, what the 2 of diamonds is all about. One thing that is disturbing about the hand, I can tell you, is it looks like the club suit, at first glance doesn't look particularly solid since it, starts with the ace-king and then has a bunch of spot cards. But if you look at those spot cards carefully, you'll see that the 3rd spot card, the 9, is higher than all 3 of my spot cards. And that is worrisome, because it means that even if Declare has the smallest outstanding singleton club, that would be the 10, I guess. My partner has the Queen-Jack doubleton, and the clubs are all going to be good. And there's nothing I can do to stop it. So, Declare may not know, of course, that the clubs are running, but I can see that they are. I may just be, though, biding my time, because it's not like, that knowledge suggests any clear course of action. It may suggest doing something like just taking my ace of hearts, because otherwise declarers may well take a massive number of tricks if I don't do that. Something else to think about is that, let's say that I play the king of diamonds hypothetically, and I force the declarer to ruff in the dummy. I may start to build a trump trick for my partner that, depending on how the play goes, I don't think this is too likely, but say my partner has 4 spades to the 9, all right? Now, if I let declarer draw trump, declarer can play the king, the queen, the jack, and later play the ace. My partner's 4 trumps will all be gone. But if I make the dummy rough, if my partner has 4 to the 9, that will make the 9 into a winner, because the jack will, is a high one and will be gone. So, I don't think that's particularly likely, that that's the layout. Declarer probably has better or longer spades than 4 for this bid. But, that's just one example of how continuing diamonds might be a good defense here. I guess another approach is I could shift to a club. I could hope that my partner has the ace of spades and a singleton club, so maybe my partner will be able to win a trump, put me in with a heart, and get a club ruff. That's another possibility to think of. But really, I don't think any of these possibilities are particularly likely, to defeat 3 spades, no matter what the hand is. Can tell you that I think leading a trump now is basically giving up. That as long as declarer has 5 trumps, it's probably not going to be good for us to play a trump. I guess partner may well be able to, if somehow partner has the ace of trump, play something through declarer and maybe then make dummy rough, but I'm sort of grasping at straws. So I think, rightly or wrongly, I'm going to take the position that I'm going to take my ace of hearts and just hope for the best, that, I may be setting up declarer's hearts, but I'm just going to hope it's one of those hands that if I don't take the ace of hearts that, declarer is basically going to claim. So, I wish there was some more attractive thing to do besides try to hold declarer to 4 or 5, but that's all I can think of. Now here I expect partner likes hearts. All right, so I'm happy about that. So here the signal is going to be attitude. Yay, partner has the king of hearts. Okay, so now declarer pretty much has to have the ace of spades because there's, just not enough high cards out really to justify a jump to 2 spades without having the ace of spades. Okay, and it looks like partner is smartly, is now making dummy rough, which looks like, probably a good play. So I am expecting declarer to get this hand over with now pretty quickly. It's a funny hand in that I might be thinking about it differently if the 8 and the 9 of clubs were exchanged. So that looks a lot like doubleton queen of clubs. And it looks like I did a good thing, that it really was all about over tricks. Or maybe not. All right. Maybe my idea of shifting to a club was the best defense. No, I guess not. Declarer can, because declarer has the 9 of spades instead of the 8, declarer will see my 10 and be able to overtake and make more tricks. Okay. Okay, So in any case, I think the most important lesson to learn on this hand is how Louise should be bidding her hand. All right, I mentioned something about this earlier, about the takeout double. When you make a takeout double, you should either have quite a lot of points, or you should have like decent support for all of the unbid suits. And Louise doesn't have that many points, and she only has a doubleton in one of the unbid suits, hearts. So it's, really better here for Louise to just overcall 2 clubs. If you're thinking, well, why wouldn't she bid 3 clubs as a preempt? Well, the hand is really too strong to bid 3 clubs. That, if you get rid of the king, queen, jack of spades, now you might want to bid 3 clubs. But, with a sound, opening bid in high cards, you want to make a 2-level overcall, and, maybe you'll bid 3 clubs again by yourself if it seems like the right thing to do later. So no, B2er, when you make a takeout double and then voluntarily bid a suit by yourself, it's not about playing strength. It says you've got a lot of high card points. I mean, it's good to have playing strength as well, but, your partner should really expect, 16 or more high card points. It's too dangerous to get involved with, doubling on one-suited hands with playing strength, because now partner will, sometimes get carried away. They'll play you for like 16 or 17 points, and, with a misfitting hand and say an 8 points, they're going to, drive it to game, or 8 or 9 points, they're going to drive it to game, and you're not going to belong there. So yeah, you really should have more in terms of high cards for double and then bid your suit. So let's talk about West's 2-spade bid. So I think, 2 spades is certainly a reasonable bid. West wants to do something forward going because West has 10 points and West might have had 0 points. So the idea of jumping here to say to partner, hey, I've got quite a bit more than you might expect from me, is a good thought. Now, it is the case that one doesn't normally like to jump around too much, with a pretty awful 4-card suit here. But the only alternative is to bid, no trump, I guess. And, a lot of players would not feel comfortable about doing that with a 4-card major, especially when, the takeout double tends to emphasize the majors. So, there are some experts that would advocate bidding 1 no trump, believe it or not, over the double with West's hand, that they like to play that the 1 no trump is sort of a value showing bid. But, it can't be too critical of 2 spades. And, if you looked at a textbook, not too many years ago, 2 spades would be close, the actual West hand would be not that far from a, perfect example hand for a textbook. Thinking has evolved a bit in this area, but it's still, kind of on the fringes, I would say. Now, should South perhaps bid a heart over the takeout double? That is another good question. I would say that is a pretty reasonable bid, only because, I mean, it is a stretch in terms of high cards, but the heart suit is quite nice. It's a 5-card suit, and you're not vulnerable. So these are things that sort of favor bidding. Yeah, I think 2 hearts bidding 1 heart as South over a double is reasonable. I don't think it's crazy to pass or anything, but I think I probably would have bid 1 heart if it was me. Okay, so if West had a singleton club, then second club play cuts entries. That is true, but let's follow how the play would go if I had shifted to a club at trick 2, something that I was thinking about. Okay, so Declare would win the ace of clubs, and Declare would cash 2 of dummy spades and see my 10 doubleton of spades drop. So now Declare would know that it's safe to overtake the jack of spades with the ace and play the 9. Okay, and discard a heart from the dummy and run all the clubs. So it turns out it was very, close 9 and 8 of spades, it's a different story. A club shift comes close to being effective, but on this particular hand, it holds declare to, it allows declare to make 11s tricks instead of 10. And if West had a singleton club, then the second club play could cut the entry. That might be the case, but if declare has a singleton club, declare probably has 5 spades. You know, declare doesn't need the club entry so much because declare now will have trump entries, can draw all the trumps ending in the dummy. Okay, well, I think that's probably enough for one day. Thanks everyone for coming, and particular thanks to my partners and opponents. I thought everyone played really well and the hands were interesting, so thank you to our computer programs for shuffling so nicely. And Maureen, everyone loves you, and thanks so much for all you do for our site and for Bridge. Happy anniversary.
Thank you, Fred.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Thank you so much, Fred, for a fantastic session and for allowing me the privilege of being able to provide these learning opportunities on BBO for these past 10 years. Do hope your throat isn't too sore after this long session. Thank you, Joan, Event Host 1, and Babs, Event Host 4, for your assistance today and for all the work you are doing to prepare for the BIL's 10th birthday celebrations throughout September. Thanks also to Sandy57 and Ian Douglas, who are also putting in a great deal of time and effort to bring a host of interesting tournaments and team matches throughout September to mark this special occasion. Thanks, Fred. It was absolutely wonderful. Thank you, everyone. I think it's time I closed the table and went and had my breakfast. Bye.